Can we all collectively agree that Game Pass is a studio killer? It seems every time I turn around, another great studio is being cut off at the knees due to its games being released day one on Game Pass. It's now been revealed that Microsoft has closed Redfall and Prey developer Arkane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush, Evil Within, and Ghostwire Tokyo developer Tango Gameworks, and even more cuts at Bethesda. Arkane, what an amazing studio creator of the amazing Dishonored series. And who could forget 2017's Prey? These guys were the masters of the immersive sim genre that have been reduced to rubble due to stepping out of what they were best known for to create Redfall, a semi-open world online co-op game where you fight vampires. I don't know whose decision this was, but I can't imagine it was Arkane's. Redfall will now also not receive promised updates, including an offline mode and new character DLC, as Microsoft has ended all development on the game. Microsoft said Redfall will remain online to play, and it will provide a make-good offer for those who bought the Hero DLC. As for the studio, Arkane Austin will close, with some members of the team joining other studios to work on projects across Bethesda. And now we go into another huge loss for gamers, Tango Gameworks. The Evil Within 1 and 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, Hi-Fi Rush, none of these games are bad. Not even close, and yet this is one of the studios being shut down. I feel like I'm in some nightmare world right now. Every one of these games I just mentioned were well received, and all except Hi-Fi Rush, due to Game Pass, I'm assuming, sold pretty well, I think. It even won a Game Award, a BAFTA, and many others. It is one of the most critically acclaimed Xbox games in years, and an original game from Japan, and the studio still was shut down. Remember when Bobby Kotick was being bought out by Microsoft to leave Activision when they acquired it? Well, they gave him $375 million. That money could pay the estimated salaries of both Arkane Austin and Tango Gameworks employees combined for the next 17 years. These are just the two biggest names being closed or shifted around. Mobile Doom developer Alpha Dog Games is also being cut, and ZeniMax subsidiary Roadhouse Games will be absorbed into ZeniMax Online Studios, which their work is known for being on the Elder Scrolls Online. It seems Xbox is reverting all resources to Call of Duty and games of that nature. Xbox head of studios Matt Booty wrote in an email to staff that we are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games. So, translation, they want to sell more COD skins and stupid microtransactions to the dummies who keep purchasing that garbage. I hope anyone who was not absorbed into another studio and just goes and finds work and gets back on their feet quickly. You guys made some incredible games, and your talent can be used in places where you may feel better appreciated. Now, I want to dive into the main reason I'm making this video. Microsoft and its Game Pass service. Now, is Game Pass the best deal for gamers right now in terms of price and games available and ready day one for most releases? Yes, obviously. But what's good for us gamers will eventually bite us in the ass, as this most recent news has done. You see, Game Pass to me is a studio killer.
You've killed me!
Good.
If it's a game is on Game Pass, it's going to get way less sales than if it was just sold in stores or digitally. Microsoft makes the most here for the service, while the developers get a lump sum to have the game be on Game Pass. See, the problem is that lump sum of cash is nowhere near what the game would be making in stores or on a digital storefront. If someone that owns Game Pass sees a new game they want to try on there, they will not be buying it. I mean, what's the point if you can play it essentially for free, or paying $70 or whatever price the game you want cost? It's a no-brainer. Now, I see why developers do this. They want their game in as many hands as possible to create an interest in their game. But the problem is that interest is immediately sated when you already have access to the game on Game Pass. Look at Hi-Fi Rush, an amazingly creative game and one of the best in recent years, and it was shadow dropped out of nowhere and put on Game Pass immediately. There was no hype, no build-up, nothing. and this game and developers deserved better. Instead of being rewarded for their creativity and passion, bringing a new great IP to gamers, they're all fired a year later. How does that look for other developers wanting to try new creative things or to push the envelope? It's going to happen less and less now, and we're just going to get more Call of Duty and live service games forever. Because unfortunately, that's what the majority of gamers are still buying and playing 15 years later. My heart goes out to all the amazing talent that went underappreciated in creating these new games, and this isn't even anything new, sadly. Layoffs have been sweeping the video game industry, with a number of high-profile studios cutting staff or shutting down. In stark contrast to a year of blockbuster video game hits, one of the biggest ongoing industry trends last year was the prevalence of mass layoffs, and that have continued on to this year. While actual figures are difficult to guess, it's likely around 10,000 jobs that have been lost in this time frame. A recent GDC survey of developers suggests 1/3 of all game developers were impacted by layoffs last year, either directly or by witnessing them happen at their company. Gaming is in a weird space right now. Gone are the glory days of old. At this point, it seems only indies and Nintendo are riding this storm as best they can, whereas everyone else is smack dab in the middle of a whirlpool, constantly worrying if their next job is next. Hopefully, in the coming months and years, this industry bounces back stronger than ever. But for now, we just gotta fasten our seatbelts and hopefully wait and see.